Every artist knows how many followers they have. Most artists even know how many monthly listeners they have if they're a musical artist. And other types of artists know how many likes they've gotten on their last post. But there's one number that almost nobody knows. And I would argue that it's the most important number in your entire creative business. I'm Rachael, and I have fun doing so many things, like playing, singing, dancing, painting, filming, and many more. Cause I'm a Mosaic soul, I'm proud to be me, being bold, divine, and free. So for years, I made money performing, teaching, selling CDs, doing photography gigs, web design, graphic design, and so many other types of creative outputs and gigs. But the thing is, I never really tracked the numbers. Looking back, I honestly really couldn't tell you how much I made in many of those years. And at this time, that realization really bothered me. Not because I wasn't making money, but because I couldn't actually see my progress. And see, the problem is with how many of us artists measure success and how many of us are taught to measure success from arbitrary, ephemeral things that really have no consequences in your daily life. We measure things like followers, subscribers, streams, likes, and views, right? And they might give us an ego boost, but none of those actually tell you if your creative life is actually sustainable, if you're actually able to put food on your table or pay your bills, right? So for example, 200 followers could support a full-time illustrator, right? If you have the right followers. Or someone with 500,000 followers could still be struggling financially. Followers measure attention. They don't actually measure sustainability. So I want to share with you the number that every artist should know above every other number. This is the number that really changed everything for me. And this number is your creative income number. This is the amount of money your creative business needs to generate each month to support the life that you actually want to live. Not Instagram's life, not somebody else's life, but your life. Right? So I want to break this down into 3 different numbers that you can start to measure your quote unquote success in, right? The 3 numbers are your survival number, your comfortable number, and your thriving number. So let's break down the first number. The first number is the minimum that you need that covers things like your housing, your food, your transportation, your bills, right? Your basic bills. This isn't a failure number. This is your foundation number, right? If all shit hits the fan, you got your basic bills covered, right? Food, clothing, housing, shelter, all of the things, water, right? So that's your survival number. And the next number is your comfortable number, right? This is bills paid plus extra, right? A little breathing room, things where you can start to invest back into your artistry, right? Where you can replace supplies or you can take a day off or a vacation, right? If you need to buy a new computer or buy a new hard drive because your current hard drive is full, or you need to buy new canvases, right? If you're an artist, or buy that new, SD card that you need if you're a filmmaker, or whatever, where you can start to reinvest back into your business and replace supplies and also enjoy the money and your lifestyle to continue to create, right? And then the last and final number is your thriving number. This is the number that allows you to cover the foundational things that you need in your life, plus be able to replace supplies. Plus, now you can have a savings. You can start to invest. You can start to possibly license your work or push your business out there forward with a marketing budget, right? This is where you can start to travel or hire help if you need to, right? Having a personal assistant or someone who helps you with other aspects of your business that you don't want to necessarily deal with, right? And this is where you can start to experiment creatively more because you now have more resources to do so. And so these are the 3 levels of your creative income number that you really should start measuring your success against versus these arbitrary vanity metrics like we talked about in this video that I'll link up above here. So why does this number matter more than followers, right? If you only need, let's say, $2,500 a month to live comfortably, and the comfortable number level, why are you comparing yourself to someone chasing millions of followers? Or even Why are you chasing someone who is living a different lifestyle? Maybe someone who needs $10,000 a month to live comfortably, right? So let's give an example, right? Let's say your name is Jane and you've been ogling Susan's profile. Susan has 500,000 followers. She's a mother of 3. She's married and she has more expenses and more things that she has to take care of. So Susan's lifestyle requires more of a $10,000 a month expense in order to take care of not only her basic needs, but everyone in her household and all of the things, right? Now, Jane, right? Let's say you're a single woman. You don't have any dependents and maybe you just have a boyfriend, but you guys don't cohabitate. So you basically just take care of your own bills, right? So you found that you really don't need much. You take care of, let's say your rent is $1,000 a month and your other expenses add up to another $300. And then the extra money that you have out of that $2,500 takes care of your other living expenses, plus allows you to, take yourself out every other weekend and buy a few extra art supplies, right? You don't need to compare your Jane comfortable number with Susan's comfortable number because you guys are living 2 different lifestyles, right? Your business should be built around your life, not someone else's. You see what I mean? So oftentimes we as people, we're always comparing and contrasting ourselves, which can be healthy, but we do it so much to the point where it's like so unhealthy that we block our own abundance and our own blessings because we're always looking outside of ourselves and comparing ourselves to someone else's lifestyle when they're living a completely different lifestyle, And so like for me, my own shift was that I started tracking my numbers this year, really last year actually. And I started separating my businesses because I have multiple businesses where I'm making income, right? And I'm finally starting to see that my creative work, like a real business, right? It's really different when you see, oh, I have income coming from this place. I have income coming from here. And this is allowing me to pay these bills, right? And this is how far off I'm from my goal of being able to cover my expenses completely with my creative business or my other business that I have, right? And honestly, that's been the motivating factor for me rather than watching my follower count. You see what I'm saying? So no longer am I even worried about, oh, I wonder how many people liked this video. Or I wonder how many people are going to subscribe. Like, I don't even care about all of these vanity metrics anymore because they aren't really a marker of success for me and my business. Not to say that those things don't matter. They can be sort of extensions of showing you where your followers' attention goes or even how much sort of impact roughly you kind of make when people like a video or comment. It definitely does have weight. That means that your content is resonating with people for sure, but it doesn't show you your business health. Going back to that same example before, someone with 200 followers who's an illustrator could be making a full-time living, versus someone who has 500,000 followers, right? Those metrics don't actually show you your creative income number. And you see why I'm going back to that core number that we all should start focusing on as creatives, right? So instead of asking, how do I go viral? A better question for you to ask yourself is, what would my creative business need to earn each month to support the life that I want, right? That question changes everything, right? So here's your practical next step. If you never actually calculated your creative income number, I'd encourage you to sit down this weekend or this evening or whenever you get some time and do it, right? Even if you don't buy anything, you want to know your number, right? Because once you know your destination, you can actually build a plan to get there, right? Too many times we get so caught up in these arbitrary things of chasing vanity metrics that we don't actually look at the numbers that actually make a difference, like being able to live comfortably off of your creative income. And let's say that you don't necessarily even want to be a full-time creative, but you want to maybe replace, a bill. Maybe you want to replace your light bill, your gas bill, and your Netflix subscription or your, email, provider bill, right? You want to take care of your business expenses with your creative work. Knowing these numbers is what allows you to know how successful you are as a creative entrepreneur, as a creative business owner, because now you are measuring it into actual things in your life that actually move the needle in your life and allow you to breathe more easily, right? So let's say you do have like a full-time job, but you don't want the pressure maybe of giving up. Maybe you will even like your full-time job, but you still want to generate more income with your creative business. And let's say, you know, you want to replace these 3 bills that I just randomly mentioned. Then, you know, oh, let's say being able to generate an extra $300 or $400 or $500 a month off of your creative business is your new goal. And then now you have a blueprint to help you get there. And you stop looking at the metrics that we are programmed as artists to look at versus your creative income number, right? So that's really the number that everyone's missing in their creative business. And if this message resonates, definitely let me know how it resonated for you, because that was definitely the biggest aha moment for me a very long time ago, and that I've now started to implement into my life more steadily, especially this year. So once you know your destination, you can actually build a plan. And if you'd like a little help figuring all of that out, that is exactly why I'm creating my Artist Money Toolkit, which dives into all of your expenses, income, and so many more things, like knowing how to set up contracts and more, that I'm going to be releasing during my Mosaic Souls World relaunch. And I will definitely help you walk through and define your own numbers, tracking your income and your expenses, setting financial goals, and building a creative business around your version of success and what that looks like for you, not someone else's. So if that is something that you're looking for, definitely go ahead and sign up for my Mosaic Souls World waitlist at mosaicsoulsworld.com. And one more thing that I want to say is that I don't really think that success is becoming the next Beyonce or success is becoming the next Basquiat, right? I think success is being able to wake up and continue doing the work that you feel called to do, right? While paying your bills and building a life that really feels in alignment with your soul and feels very meaningful and fulfilling to you, right? And so for me, that's more than enough. And from there, I can continue to grow and know what numbers I'm actually striving to hit versus arbitrary numbers in the back of my mind that always get me in this sort of anxiety flux of feeling like I'm not doing well or not, right? So if this message resonates, definitely like this video and subscribe, and let me know how it resonates in the comments below. And as always, flow with what feels good and let go of what doesn't, because you are divine. You are a divine being, and your soul knows exactly what you've come to explore and experience while on this planet. So remember, what you conceive is what you'll receive, what you expect is what you'll get, and however you feel is what will become real for you. So vibrate higher, and I'll chat with you guys in the next one. Peace, love, and light.